You might not agree with everything I'm about to say in this video, but if you're struggling to accomplish your goals and actually make progress, then you're gonna wanna watch this video, because I'm gonna share with you exactly how I've been able to create my dream life, how I've been able to, build my physique, hit all these PRs in the gym. Now I'm 28 years old, I run an online consulting company, and I'm literally just walking down the street in New Orleans, visiting my parents, making videos from my iPhone, right? And it might sound crazy that I make a living helping sports coaches create their dream life by coaching athletes online, because 5 years ago, or even 3 years ago, that was not even a thing, right? I created that niche, okay? And I've been able to create, pretty much a pretty sick life for myself, being able to just talk to a camera and make money from it, right? How have I been able to do that? Well, the reality is that achieving your goals and making progress is not nearly as hard as people think it is, right? A lot of the times, people get this idea in their mind that, maybe you might be sitting there watching this video thinking, oh, it would be so cool to run my own business, or it would be so cool to, double my income, or it would be so cool to, hit a new PR in the gym, or so cool to, date that type of person. And the thing is, the only thing stopping you from actually achieving whatever it is that you want to achieve is to have an actual plan and to execute on that plan. You see, a lot of people, they think that achieving these goals, you need to have some special character traits, or you need to have some sort of innate talent that is supernatural, right? Or is purely genetic. And the reason why people believe that is because they never actually learned how to actually get better at stuff, right? And how to actually accomplish goals and to create momentum. So I'm gonna walk you through how you can actually do that, right? And it all starts with actually having the end goal in mind. You would be surprised how many people in the world just literally do not have a goal, right? It's like if you're trying to hit a bullseye, but you don't know what the target is, you don't know where the target is, like, what are your odds of hitting the bullseye? They're absolutely zero, because you don't have an end goal. And so when I ask a lot of people, like, hey, what are your goals? Like, what's like your 5-year goal, or what's your 10-year goal? Most people couldn't even tell you the answer to that, right? So if you don't know where you're going, then it's gonna be impossible to ever get there, right? Most people, they just wanna get out of the current situation that they're in because they hate their current life, right? Or they hate their current circumstances, whatever they are, okay? But the first thing that you need to do is actually figure out, what is the real goal that we're trying to accomplish, okay? And so when you figure out, okay, what is my actual goal that I'm trying to accomplish? Let's say I'm trying to bench, like right now I'm trying to bench 315. That's my fitness goal, right? And so what did I do in order to try and bench 315? Well, I needed to come up with a plan, okay? That doesn't necessarily mean that I sat there and planned for hours and hours and hours and hours. I kind of just asked myself, like, realistically, based on my bench right now, how long is it gonna take me to actually hit that goal? Okay, and then I can kind of work back into it from there. And then I just did a little bit of research and asked myself, let's say I gain 5 pounds per month on my bench, and let's say I bench 295 right now, then realistically I should be able to do it in 4 months. Okay, well, if I'm gonna set my goal out for 4 months, then what do I need to do each month in order to be on pace to hit that goal? And so you can see it becomes very easy to back into that goal, right? And you can kind of come up with a plan as to what you need to be doing on a month over month or a week over week basis. Now, this is where a lot of people mess up, okay? That's where they stop, is they get the plan, right? Because like a lot of people, they get far enough to where, okay, like sure, you got a goal. You wanna make $10,000 a month online, or you wanna buy a house, or, if my mom's watching this, you wanna write a dissertation. Whatever the thing is, right? But a lot of people stop at planning, okay? And that is the biggest mistake that you can make, because wins and losses, there's a saying that wins and losses are not, don't happen on paper, right? Baseball, for example, is played on the field. And there's a lot of statistics and analytical planning that goes into the game. But at the end of the day, the players actually have to take the field and play the game, right? So how does that actually apply to achieving your goals? Well, I want to bench 315, right? So what do I have to do? I have to go in the gym and actually execute the plan. I actually have to go in and, do the reps, bench the weight. Okay, cool. So let's say I start benching the weight. I start making a little bit of progress, right? So for example, a couple weeks ago, hit 255 for 3. What does that give us? Well, that gives us data, okay? That gives us data to be able to learn from, and then we can see that data as feedback. You see, one of the biggest problems that I see people have is they go out there, they take action, they fail, right? 255 for 3, that's nowhere close to being able to bench 315, right? So a lot of people take that data, they take that feedback, and they wear it personally, like they aren't good enough, right? Instead of seeing it very objectively, seeing like, okay, I benched 255 for 3, and it went really well off my chest, but the lockout needs a little bit of work, right? So what am I doing there? What I'm doing is I'm identifying what the actual bottleneck is to achieving my goal, right? Because I can probably get, 315 off my chest right now, but I couldn't lock it out. At least maybe not. Maybe at this current date I can. I'll tell you how I progressed over time, right? And so what do? I go, okay, that's data. I'm gonna need to get better at the lockout. So on my second bench day, what am I doing? I'm doing close grip bench, because the bottleneck in order to achieve my goal is the lockout. So I'm gonna do things that are gonna help me with my weak point. You see, most people, they don't ever attack their weak points, right? Because they wear this quote unquote failure as a personal attack on their ego, and they stop trying rather than seeing it as data to improve and then adjust their plan from there, right? So we add in close grip bench. All of a sudden, the next week or a couple weeks later, I hit 265 for 3 now on bench. I'm like, whoa, okay. And it was not that hard. So what did we do, okay? We have a vision of what the goal is. We created a plan to execute on that. And then what did we do? We actually took action, and then we analyzed the results, and we got feedback. So now what am I gonna do? We're gonna adjust the plan. So we added close grip bench, and then we take action again. And what do we find out? Okay, cool. 265 for 3, awesome. So then I'm working with a coach, right? Because if you're trying to get something done that you've never done before, then you should probably work with somebody who's already done that thing to help you actually accomplish that goal. That's a topic for a completely different video. But I started working with this coach, and he's like, all right, next week if you're feeling it, try and go for 275 for 3. And I'm like, whoa, that would be sick. So this morning, I start warming up for my bench, and I do 255 for 1, and it just it just didn't move the way that I wanted to. And see, this is where a lot of people would mess up, is they have this goal in mind. They want to do, let's say, 275 for 3. And it became pretty apparent to me that there was a low probability that I was gonna hit that goal. So what did I do? I backed off, I did 255 for 3 instead, and I took it. You see, most people, what they would do is they would go, oh, I'm such a bad person. I can't hit my goals. Why am I it's never gonna happen for me. It's that's such a loser mentality. It's such a terrible way of looking at it, right? Because you need to see it as feedback. You need to see it as data. So what did I learn? Well, I learned that I'm probably not gonna be able to progress linearly like that over time. And so what I did was I pulled off the brakes a little bit, and then I went super hard on my back down sets. We don't even have to talk about, the intricacies of my programming, but I ended up hitting a huge PR after that. Hit 235 for 10, which is a big PR for me. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna analyze the data, I'm gonna analyze the results, and then I'm gonna come up with a new plan to attack from this point moving forward. And I will continue progress slowly. Maybe I don't hit my goal in 4 months. Maybe I hit it in less time. Maybe I hit it in more. But the point is this. Most people, they never even know what their goal is. They actually have never truly defined what they're trying to do. And then from there, most people never actually have a plan. They never mapped out how long is it gonna take? What are the actions that I have to do? I gotta bench twice a week. I gotta hit this many calories. I gotta get this much sleep, right? They never actually map out the exact step-by-step that they need to do to actually achieve that goal. So because they lack the clarity, they end up doing nothing. They just have analysis by paralysis, okay? Or they come up with the plan, but they sit there and they stop there. They never actually take action on it, right? Or if they actually do take action, oh, we got a couple little yappers behind me. If they actually do take action, then oftentimes when you start taking action on something, you're gonna be bad at it at first. And so a lot of people just wear that on their ego. They can't handle the quote unquote failure. And so they stop trying and they say, oh, this didn't work, or it's not going to work for me, or it's different for me because insert some terrible limiting belief that's gonna hold you back from ever accomplishing your goal, right? So if you can get into the part where you're actually doing the feedback loop, where you're taking action, seeing the data, adjusting the plan, and then going again, and you can keep your goal at the forefront of everything that you're doing, and you just continue to work the plan, execute, and adjust, execute, adjust, execute, adjust. If you go on that for enough time, then you can accomplish anything that you want in life, because at the end of the day, the outcomes that you get are a direct reflection of the actions that you take. And we are in direct control of the actions that we take. So if we are in direct control of the actions that we take, and the actions are a direct reflection, or the actions lead to the outcomes that we get, then we are in control of our outcomes. And so all we need to do is come up with a clear vision of what we want, come up with a plan to get there, try, see what broke, adjust, and then try again. And over an extended period of time, we can actually accomplish anything that we want to with this system, okay? But you gotta have a goal, you gotta have a plan, you gotta work the plan, and then you gotta adjust the plan based on the feedback that we have, and then you have to try again, and again, and again, and again, and again. So if you're missing any of that, then you have no chance of ever accomplishing your goals. But for those of you who are actually gonna take action with the stuff that I put out there, this is how you can create your dream life. This is how you can do anything that you want, because anything is possible if you dream big enough. So hopefully you guys got a ton of value out of this. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.